Welcome to another episode of The Growth Compass. Shout out to our sponsor, Senders. If you want to do cold email deliverability correctly, link somewhere in the description. But if it wasn't for them, it would not be possible to interview cool people doing really cool things like Komy. Welcome.
Hey Blake, thanks for having me here, man.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you for being here. I just learned 30 seconds ago, well, 28 seconds ago, that it is an insane hour. I won't disclose it for anybody, but it's a crazy hour for you. So I appreciate you being awake and being interested in doing this conversation. So for anyone that doesn't know, if you could just give a quick introduction of yourself and what you're building.
Cool. So my name is Komy. I'm 22, and for the last more than 6 months, I've been building Genta, which is a company that offers AI solutions for other companies, mainly B2B and some B2C companies as well. Our main goal, or the way we kind of managed to grow, is just purely by focusing purely on results and ROI rather than anything else. And yeah, it's my first business, my first podcast, my first lot of things this year, and it's a roller coaster. I'd say it's quite fun though. It's a good fun journey.
Hey, congrats. That's a lot of firsts.
Yeah, I know, right? Thanks, man.
So then, if this is your first company, how? So let's start with this. How did you get into? Are you a programmer? By trade, is that what you're studying right now? How did you get into the space of AI in the first place?
Well, I actually like initially the way I actually got into computers first was through playing a lot of CTFs and bug bounty hunting when I was young. So since I was really young, I was really interested into like programming in general. But since a young age, I just thought hacking was the coolest thing ever, and I was always trying to do that. And then uh, like learned a ton by myself since a young age, and then started doing CTF for like games competitions, slowly transitioning to bug bounties for other companies. So I was like trying to
So
make.
so just for so just for so we had the what can you define what those two things mean?
Sorry, my bad. So a CTF is like this capture the flag. It's like a game basically online for mainly developers or programmers that there's usually a machine or a computer somewhere or a system somewhere that you're just trying to you just have to crack it to get it, basically hack it. So there's this flag that's hidden somewhere. It's usually like a line of text or something that's hidden in a file somewhere, and you just have to find a way to hack the system and get that flag. And then a lot of games, there's a lot of different flags, and then you try to correct it. So that's CTFs, and so it's like a like game for people who like really like hacking or just puzzles or
And
problems.
you played a lot of those, or you built a lot of them?
I
Is what you're
played a
saying?
lot.
Okay, cool. And then you transitioned into something else. It was a bug,
Yeah,
something.
so I mean, this was really fun, but then I grew older a little bit, and then you just want to make some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you want to make some money, and then I
Yeah,
didn't
of
like
course, of course.
in a big city or something, and I didn't really like the idea of like getting a full-time job. So the good way is that you can easily transition to bug bounty. So usually a lot of companies they have these bugs in their code. A bug is like an error or something that's broken or a vulnerability in their code, but it's just too hidden. Sometimes it's too boring for developers. Sometimes it's just they can't find it. But for me or other low CTF players, it's still a game. They list it public, and anyone who can find these bugs, they just get a payout. So this can be in the form of like big companies like Apple or Google. They have these programs, or like smaller companies that they hire these people. Usually they hire anyone because like if you can figure it out, they'll just pay you. So I used to do that as well, and that was quite fun because then you can actually make money, like good money out of this, and you don't even have to work much. Like maybe you do it once a week, and it's still cool to like brag about online. Yeah, because like, hey, I found a bug in like this company that they've been like trying for like a few weeks. But anyways, so that was all thing, and a lot of some of these were like fun and easy, but still, it's not like a proper career, I would say. So slowly, I was like, okay, I'm gonna transition to professionally study cybersecurity, get a proper college degree. All this was like before the age of 18. So I was like doing that. I was like 16, 17. So okay, I'll like get a professional university degree. And that's when I also got like a proper software development job, and it was too boring. So I had to automate a lot of my tasks and a lot of my work. And that's kind of like the whole idea of actually before Genta, even before the AI boom, I was like kind of already automating a lot of parts of my job. Usually nothing crazy like APIs and just backend code to automate tasks. But then when AI dropped like LLM APIs and all that, it was too fun to just still like have a full-time job. So then I started automating more of my stuff, but then other departments in that same company, like social media, their marketing, blah 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 blah. It was too good that I realized like this could be a whole business where we just offer that, because like a lot of companies would really appreciate that if we're just saving them a lot of money and time and just take little piece. It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So then when you are saying, so there's the reason I ask this question, usually interviewing founders that are using AI in their product or technology, there's a lot of conversation and people using AI to describe like anything. And so when you're talking about AI, what does it mean to you? Like, are we talking about you know, like the typical chat GPT Claude, like the interfaces that people are
Yeah.
familiar with, or are you talking about like super back end, like, API integration, stuff like this?
Yeah, so what I mean for me or like for Genta or like we in Basic too is like I'm sure you've heard agentic AI or AI agents or
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of hype. So this is actually what we're doing, which is more on back end APIs. Like it's still using ChatGPT models. Like we can use ChatGPT 5 in the back end. We can choose a lot of models. We can use Claude. We can use based on like the situation and stuff. But we don't use the same interface as other people would. We just use the API to just have it do work on the back end, and then integrate it in the usually integrate it in the client's current stack. So if they use Slack, if they use Google Workspace, if they use SAP, click like whatever they use,
Yeah.
emails, anything, we then connect everything. So it literally feels like someone you hired someone like maybe a work from home job who just does everything just faster and sometimes
Yeah.
better.
So you said, so how long ago has it been that you started this?
Well, I started in November, the end of November 2024. Got it registered properly, like the business we got registered properly early this year. So I would say early 8 months, a little bit more.
So nice. So let's take those 8 months then,
Okay.
and let's focus on the product as far as like what you've been offering to clients. How has your understanding of your product changed between January and where it is right now?
Oh, that's a super good question. Like it changed a lot actually. Or like the way
Let's
you
get
think,
into it. Tell me about
like
it.
the way you think what clients want or like what people actually want is so different than what's actually they actually want. So my whole idea initially was so complex. Like I had these crazy ideas whenever I go on a client call on a new project. I always have the most like crazy stuff because I always after like I'm for me it's still interesting. Their clients they want what they actually want is like much more simple and much more easier to do and just stuff that they should have done 10 years ago
Yeah.
before we even start integrating like these AI agents into the system. So a lot of them are missing infrastructure, a lot of them are missing basic automations. A lot of them was not directly what I want to get to, but it was like another big realization where like these guys are like so behind and we can if we can just like speed them up technically on like the technology side, speed these organizations up to be where we at right now, they can make easy save a few millions each year so easily, and they won't lose anything. It's just like a win-win. So that's kind of been our niche now. Is like try to do this AI transformation and not just because most of them are not even ready for like straight up AI agent
So what
integration.
so so what was an example of at the beginning you where you felt like your pitch or your product or whatever was just too much or too complicated?
Yeah, yeah. So recently we've been working. It's actually a company in the US. It's called CNG Electric. So it's an electric company. They do kind of like electric stuff, but for like big developments as well. So like for example, there's a mall or stuff like that, government stuff. very, very corporate, like very corporate, very not very, but like somehow enterprise corporate company. And when I came in, they had a problem with like their billing and financial credit cards and so on. So they wanted to automate this whole. Their team have like 200 people who have credit cards, and then each of these has their own supervisor, and then each month they need to submit their receipts. It's like a long process. But anyways, I just wanted to create like, okay, that can make a super cool multi-agent architecture. So we have a few agents working together. They can communicate together in this whole department. Replace like a lot of people. So once I told them the idea, I showed them a demo, they loved it. They were like, "Whoa, it's like this is super cool." But then when we actually came to do it, it couldn't work because they were like drowning in Excel, had so many Excel sheets everywhere, unrelated, but they still do it. So many, like literally, I called it Excel hell, and I was telling them this is
Yeah.
literally Excel. So we had to like pause on like any AI development and actually deal with this mess of like automating. I mean, it's all stuff that they will eventually need, but it's just all getting done manually, and they're really long, and then they take like maybe 2 weeks for the sheet, 2 weeks for the sheet. So they close the month like 2 months after. It's like, cool, man. This kind of like, so we had to like deal with that before.
When was that?
That was like 3 months ago.
3 months ago. How did you find that? How did you find that that client in the first place?
Well, it's one of our clients. So it's one,
Okay, so it was kind of a referral.
yeah,
Nice, nice, nice. So
yeah,
so
that,
then so then you so then you took that experience from 3 months ago and it was too complicated and you said that. So how did you take that experience and change or evolve your offering after that?
yeah. So when I saw that, we had to like again take a step back, not try to like sell them something that they can't actually like use full scale. So we had to like, hey, we're gonna stop AI agents and we're gonna do an AI automation here that is just gonna deal with this Excel sheets first properly and get that cleaned out for a month, and then you guys can try that. And then it did actually clean things up and make their job so much easier. And then
Yeah.
only then add the AI agents into that clean system to actually automate more and send emails and receive emails and create these dashboards. And man, they were like so happy, of course. And then
Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah, it was like, oh, it's like very, very nice to see it. Like there's
Okay,
some,
so Komi, I think you're speaking on a really important point around AI automation, like because it's something that I feel strongly about. It's something that I implement in my own agency and the businesses that I'm involved in because it just is legit. It is real. Like you
yeah,
can automate things at a high quality and really change how your business can run. However, I think it's if people aren't deeply involved in automation or understand or familiar with systems architecting or things like this, I think there's a very easy opportunity for people to just say, let's just automate everything. And it's not that simple, like you were saying. And so the first thing that you had to do was clean up all of the. I mean, I want you to speak on this. So you probably put it better than I can, but like the inputs, make the data cleaner. Like you had to make things more, and then put automation on top of it. So if you don't have, a level of organization
system.
in in the data that's going to be fed into your automations, then there's no automation to be had. But I think that doesn't get talked about enough. So if could you talk about that just in your own experience, like how it like say I was a client or a potential client and I had like my systems were fucked up, like they were just not
Yeah.
organized or anything, right? Like how would you explain to me how automation could work for me?
Okay, that's super. Yeah, I think actually that's a point that's really stepped on. But I mean, to do AI automations, you kind of have to have like a proper systems in place. And what I mean by that, usually when first thing I ask is like, do you have an SOP? Sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's a no. But then if it's a no, can you build an SOP? If that's a no, then okay, that there's a problem. If you
And
can't
you're saying SOP for what, like a particular.
for a particular task or a workflow.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so a lot of times they're like, "Can you build an SOP?" I was like, "Oh, I'm not sure if I can build an SOP for this." It's like, okay, that's also okay because I mean, this is all talking about AI automations. So This is the thing with the automations, that they should have, as you said, proper inputs and expected outputs with defined steps. Or on the other hand, when we do AI agents, they don't actually require proper inputs and proper outputs. Most of the time, they're more flexible and they can deal with mess more, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, so then along that thought that you're just saying, say that I run a business, say that someone in the audience is listening and they run a business and they want to understand whether or not they can apply, agentic automation to their business. Like, what questions should I be asking? Does the SOP question still apply, or can I have messy architecture and still use agents?
No, you can have a messy architecture and still use agents. I mean, the SOP and like detailed instructions more for like automations, which is also important on like a low level, especially when you're dealing with Excel sheets, data entry, cleaning stuff. Like they're very, very boring tasks like data entry stuff. You would want to go for an automation and not have an AI agent do all that. And then since you need like an SOP. But for example, let's say someone who's like wondering if they can actually start using AI agents to their business, the short answer is yes, you obviously can start right away. Getting aligned on the expectations is what's important, because sometimes people hear the word AI agents and they have so high expectations or very low expectations. Usually very high. It's like this agent can do everything, or like I'm gonna automate my whole business, or I'm gonna expect perfection every time. And that's just not true. Like we wish it's true, but it's not true. So is your business is the type of business that you can still have human in the loop checks, or someone to, I wouldn't say review, because we try to like get past that part, but someone who's ready to put some time in the beginning to put guardrails and fine tune and go with us the effort to actually optimize an AI agent for performance, for peak performance. Can someone commit to that? And do you have goals, like expected goals, like a clear ROI plan, a clear goal plan, something that's actually a bottleneck that, hey, if you guys help me solve that, because at the end of the day, it's solving problem. There's a bottleneck in place, something that you think if this it can be automated, probably repetitive stuff or more stuff that it's in the balance between it does need some thinking but not human intelligent thinking. So, but it is dynamic enough for an AI agent to take place. If these all checks out, then you can go ahead and start that, and you can even do it yourself.
So, two questions. One is more general and one is specific to you. So, the general question is, are there types of tasks that are better suited for automation? So, like we were talking about, there's, I don't know, some marketing tasks that are pretty repeatable that can be, easily automated and things like that. However, there are some marketing tasks that if you do automate them, then it really decreases the quality of the output of, because a lot of marketing has to do with actually understanding who your
Yeah.
customer is, why you're talking to them, things like this. But like a generation of like a caption, can be automated. So from your perspective, generally speaking, what kinds of tasks are better suited to be automated and which ones should not be automated?
I mean, for stuff that can be automated, so I'm just gonna split that to answer into tools, like what can be automated and what can be like hand off to an AI agent, because it is different. Like there's a difference between
Okay,
AI automations and AI agents. So first, gonna
good
talk about
distinction. Yeah.
automations. So automations is something that has defined inputs and defined outputs. So you have an expected input and expected output, and these are clear. They don't change, and the steps to do so does not change. So, for example, some data entry work is something that's heavily should and can be automated. As you said, caption generation can and should be automated. For example, working with a company currently, it's a US based company as well, actually. It's called iCanvas, which iCanvas.com. They have like a ton of like, they sell digital photos and like physical photos and frames and so on. They have like 500,000 of these, and they need to generate like a product for each one of them. They have product page, like product description and so on. So this can be automated. All this process can be and should be automated. And now let's take another step even more advanced of what can then be handled to an AI agent, which is something even more powerful because it doesn't have expected input. It can deal with messy data. An example, and then I'll come back to marketing, for example, SEO tasks. So if you want to write an SEO blog or write an SEO page, you first need to search keywords. What are the competition search volume for these keywords? Who are your competitors who are ranking for these keywords? and then generate a content outline targeting that with a focus keyword and so on. And this is also a workflow that can be automated, but it doesn't have defined steps because all these will obviously will change and it depends. So then you will get an AI agent here and then connect it with tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs and have it automate, actually call the tools, generate keywords, go check the search volume and so on to generate content optimized, SEO optimized content. So this is an AI agent. Another example, let's take our canvas for example. So that was the first step in the automation. Let's bring that a little like add more steps to make an AI agent. Same scenario. They have tons of photos and tons of product description. So for each product description and like meta title and meta tag, you want all these to be SEO optimized. How are you gonna do that with 500,000? It's gonna take a few months if you have like two people working on this full time. All right, so instead, let's automate these inputs and then have an AI agent connected also to SEO tools, and then he generates or she generates or it does generate these SEO optimized content that ranks
Got it.
for high search keywords. Yeah.
Got it. No, that's super helpful. So then using that framework, the follow-up question was specifically for you. Are there certain tasks that you enjoy or your company specifically focuses on automating or building agents?
I mean, so far we haven't really got stuck in a niche yet. We've been working like very general. Personally, though, I personally really enjoy automating stuff that has to do with like very, very back end uh, processes. So, for example, dealing with numbers, dealing with data, decision making on like a very back level. So like with a bunch of data, what would be the next decision? Maybe like approving or like denying anything, any of that process that has approve or deny, like approve or decline, this kind of stuff. Like on what basis do you guys approve? On what basis do you guys decline? And let's have an AI agent do that. So it's like more of a high level jobs that moves the needle, you know.
Yeah. So two final questions that I'm curious about for you. I mean, starting officially the business about 8 months ago, getting new clients, learning from mistakes that you've made with clients in the past. I mean, that's awesome. Like, it is really cool to hear that, like, genuinely, you started recently. It's been growing. That's super cool for you at the moment right now. What would you say is the biggest hurdle that you are dealing with, and how is it also an opportunity?
So something very challenging right now.
Yes.
I think what's really, really challenging is after a certain point, I do want to scale more, and to do that with like a service-based business, you would want to have project managers or people to manage accounts, and it's just something that I can't see myself doing. It's just I'm not sure if I'm just scared to take that step to like hand off some because it's like a big responsibility and like the way they have to deal with the client and deal with the project. And I think it's also something. I mean, I always hear that saying, and it's very true that no one's gonna treat your business the way you're treating your business, or no one's gonna work as hard as you want. And
That's right.
I wish that's the case. I wish I could find people who, but it's not fair to even try to expect that from anyone. So it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
so then, what do I do? Do I like try to keep everything perfect and I manage all the accounts, but that's gonna block me scaling? Or should I go on and try to like give that opportunity to hire full-time people? I try to train and everything, but still let them manage full accounts, and then I can scale. It's something I. What do you think? Actually, I'm excited. You probably can really advise me here.
Well, I mean, I think listening to you say that, I mean, that's an incredible thing to label as like the problem, because it marks that I think you're at a stage in your business where it's grown to a place where it's outside of your personal ability to handle all of the accounts. And you can even visualize like scaling too. So I think that's awesome. And I mean, I think it's an easy question. I appreciate you giving it to me because I think this is the right one. Is that, of course, hiring or getting over that, that first hump of hiring the first person, the second person is something that every business owner goes through, and it is something you're going to need to do.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
so that's why I'd say I'm excited for you to do it. I don't know, we would need to talk more about Genta, but I don't know how close that is in the future. But it's a really exciting thing to do for the first time. And the way that it seems like you approach other things, I think, you know, you'll be successful in that step. It seems like.
Thank you so much, Blake. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, so my last question for you is you're doing all this stuff like we just established. You're going to be hiring soon, which is awesome. If anyone out there is
We're not
listening,
hiring
you
for
reach out to
I mean, we
Komy.
have a lot of developers, really talented developers. Love the team at Genta. The next step is I keep only hiring developers, but I'm managing
Right,
teams.
right, right, right.
Who wants to be project manager, account manager? Yeah,
That's right.
right.
So reach out. But my question for you is, among all these things, what inspires you?
Is it fair to also label that question as like what pushes you? Would that be different?
Yes. No, no, that's good. Yeah, what pushes you?
I think I just want to see what's gonna happen. I just genuinely want to see how far I can grow Genta and grow this whole business. Yeah, I just want to push as far as possible and see when it's either gonna like go really far or like when uh is it gonna struggle or like get tough and how can I get past that? Just always looking for the future and like the next big thing. Yeah, so actually, yeah, just that. I'm just really looking forward to how much I can grow Genta to like have it on like a very, very high authority place. Uh, yeah, that's what I'm looking for, and that's I think
Nice.
that's what pushes me every day.
No, I think that's cool. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to stay in touch
Thank you
and
so much.
see what happens. So, if anyone out there is interested in following along or getting in touch or applying for an account manager role, what's the best way to get in touch or
You
follow
guys
along?
you guys can follow me on LinkedIn. Follow me. Yeah, maybe we can leave it somewhere. Also on my email, if you want to reach out to apply, is komi@genta.dev. I'll be happy to hear from you guys.
Awesome. Well, let's do it, man. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for being awake. That's crazy. And look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you so much, Blake, and thank you so much for your time today and for the invitation. Great experience.
Awesome.